Hi, my name's Cameron Carlson with AnimeLocation.tv. I'm here with my great pal, Mr. Kyle Hebert. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Alrighty, man. So the last time we got to speak with you, you happened to be in the awesome show called One Punch Man. How's it been doing that, and how's the fan response?
Off the charts. As usual, when you see a show that's pretty much an homage to DBZ, it's like, hey, I got to be a part of this somehow. And I was very, very lucky to get Atomic Samurai and a couple dudes that do get one punched out. So yeah, be a part of that awesome thing. And I hear there is a second season, so hopefully we'll be able to dub that and get that up to the fans as soon as possible.
I say the pals over at Funimation happen to get his other project, Mod World or Psycho World, his other project.
Psycho, yeah.
So have you had any dealings with that yet or no?
I have. I'm actually Mob's dad in that.
All right.
Watch the simuldub, folks.
All right.
Yeah.
So also since the last time we got to talk, I see this show has now appeared back on television in the form of Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
What's it like coming to America, being able to get back to being able to dub it, and is there a chance to see the legendary narrator and Teen Gohan make a comeback?
Ooh, man. Well, I tell you, we've been chomping at the bit for several years. As soon as Super was announced, it's like, all right, when are we going to dub it? Crickets, and then finally we're able to do that and knock out the Dragon Ball Z Kai, right. The final chapters. Knock that all out there, get that out to the fans as soon as possible. The ratings were off the chart. We were super thrilled to watch on Twitter become a trending topic just for a little bit.
It was
number one. Dragon Ball is still a force to be reckoned with in the world. That's unreal. So. Obviously, I've been with the cast since 2000, so returning to something like that is my first big gig, and I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball to begin with, so it's like, oh my God, it never goes away, and that's a good thing. We're introducing new generations to this awesome property.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you compare Dragon Ball Super to some of the previous versions of Dragon Ball? I mean, it's kind of a retelling / finishing off where the two movies that came out recently, and then it's also paying homage to the other two seasons of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. So what's it like? You're just mixing it all together and just going with that story.
I think it's good because one of the biggest selling points, I think, in Dragon Ball, the saga overall, is the great sense of humor that it has, and also a great sense of action. So I think everybody's tastes are being addressed in that. So the people that really like the original Dragon Ball, the more comedy-based show, and then there's the ones that watch Z, which is more action-based, and then Super is kind of a nice fusion of that. You're getting some reenactments and retellings with its own unique angle for the last two movies, and then just now, at least in Japanese, it's starting to veer off into some brand new territory. I'm really excited to see what happens with Gohan, because right now, spoiler, he's kind of on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So. Come on, man. To address your earlier question, I don't get to come back as the narrator, unfortunately. That's Doc Morgan from the Kai Saga. So I'm sad about that. But it's okay. I'm still Gohan. Gohan's an on-camera character. You know?
What about King Ox?
Oh, yeah. Ox is still there. Oh, boy. He's still there. Yep.
I love it. So staying with Dragon Ball, tell us about the Kai Bu Saga.
Well, that is been in the making for some time. And... we're really, really happy to see that also did well in the Tsunami ratings. Yeah. We're super psyched because we heard a little bit of dissension among fandom going, it's not as good as the original and all that, but we seem to have got it right as far as the final chapters are concerned, at least with the first episode. It was like the Kyle show. I turned it on. It's like it's all Gohan becoming the great Saiyaman and meeting Videl for the first time. And it's like, wow, that's some of the first stuff I got to record. Yeah. Getting to come back and re-record that. Now with all this acting experience under my belt, hopefully made it better, and the fans are taken to it, so I'm really, really honored.
I love it all the way around. And now how do you feel that the fans will react with the saga as it goes forward?
I think they're here for the long haul. You know, I think it's going to make people think twice and go back and consider that we really did our best efforts on Kai overall, because you have a script that is faithful to the original Japanese. And for those who don't want to wait for 5 or 6 episodes or for a power-up to take, you know, it does consolidate that stuff. I was so worried the Great Saiyaman saga was considered fillers, and they were chopping out filler. It's like, oh man, they're not going to have him again. But they did. Yeah. So I guess it made enough of an impression. So, yay!
All right. So The newest version of Street Fighter has come out. How's it going back to playing the role of Ryu and the story behind him becoming one of the world's best fighters?
Oh, man. Well, hey, every few years, it's been a blessing, getting to come back to that franchise and see him pop up in things like Marvel vs. Capcom or crossing over with Tekken and Smash Brothers, like mind blown, seriously. And watch the games evolve, too. Now, Street Fighter V, when it first came out, was kind of like a beta. But as the DLC started coming out, it's like, okay, at the core, it's a really solid game. And now it's like the best of the Street Fighters. It's got the best characters, the best storyline, the best arcade mode, which the fans asked for, and Capcom listened. So super happy about that.
The best part is we're friends with everybody, too. So it's like, how did you fight this guy? What do you mean I got to fight this guy? It's like, no, he was in the game. It's like, yeah, your friends fought each other. So it's always fun when we get to have our friends do fighting games.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Alrighty. Now, in our last interview, we talked about your podcast, and the podcasting world is just such a good mix of people. What's it like, working with Mr. Kevin Smith and his group of people, working for him?
I wish I got to see Kevin a lot more often. He does a podcast called Hollywood Babylon with Ralph Garman, who's a morning show entertainment correspondent in the Los Angeles area, and they just riff on Hollywood pop culture news. And as a fan, I sent in my VO as an intro, as a gag. And then they ended up liking it so much, they ended up hiring me. So I did the intro, which took nothing. I just did it from home. And then I do little bumpers, talking about all the different shows they do as they travel the country. Kevin Smith or Jason Mewes, as they go to all the comic book men, all that stuff. I'm on in between the podcast doing little announcer bumpers, saying who's. And I actually got a text this morning saying, we need a new list of tour dates. Okay, I'll get to that later in my hotel room. Get the hotel mic, plug it into the iPhone, and record.
Alrighty, and since last time we talked, there's a new series in the Pokemon world. Pokemon Generations has come out. What's it like to be part of that, knowing that the series is now over 20 years old?
Well, again, being a part of an awesome franchise, TBZ, Street Fighter, Naruto, Bleach, and Pokemon. And I thought, okay, when I did the young version of Professor Oak in Origins a few years back, I thought, okay, it's never going to happen again. And then Generations happened. Like, oh, I get to play new guys. So, and it's on YouTube, and unreal. Pokemon Go really, really changed the whole atmosphere for everything.
I think the revitalization of the show, the series, and then of course tapping into the now almost 30-year-old crowd of people. I mean, I'm 29. I was, I think, 11 when the original series came out, and I'm now 29. I still am a kid, at heart, and I still want to play from time to time. So I think that really speaks volumes of how they've tapped into that market and rekindled the love for that show and stuff.
And the funny thing is, I was a DJ for Radio Disney at the time, and when Pokemon came out, I thought, it's just a fad. It'll go away. What do I know? Don't listen to me. I'd be the worst weatherman ever or something.
All right, now you've done some work doing audiobooks. What's it like doing some of that work, and how did you go about recording it? And do you also feel that it helps with your voice acting?
Well, audiobooks are a really interesting challenge because obviously in a 200 or 300 page novel, you have dozens and dozens, if not maybe hundreds of characters. And you have to kind of keep your mind straight, like how is a man going to voice a woman or vice versa, and make sure that is consistent. Like if they come with a dialect, are you going to make sure and keep track of all that? Now, I like the comfort of doing them from my own home, where I can sit there and record little samples of each character I'm doing and kind of stay in the zone. It's a little bit tiring because, it's huge chunks of dialogue and you have to sit there and edit it and all that stuff. But I do feel really good when it's done. Yeah. And, audiobooks are like this booming thing right now, just like podcasts are. People want on-demand audio content on their drives and commutes to work.
I do that. I do.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I mean, I would like to see the radio drama come back in a big way. I know it's usually a budget issue, but
because I remember when you did it. I remember when you did it at MatsuriCon. You got all the voice actors. You guys did it. It was so fantastic to listen to that.
Thank you.
I mean, I was like, they all got into character. I love because you had Sonny Strait do the commercials.
Yeah,
he was hilarious doing all those. That was awesome. I loved it. So do you feel that when you're doing the audiobooks, do you think that it helps relate back into your voice acting work? Do you feel that they play off each other? I
think they're all intertwined, because the thing we always tell people is acting. It's any kind of voice acting is just acting. It's just one type of acting. It's removing the physicality of it and throwing it and channeling it all into your voice, and that's the type of acting I feel I'm best at. Other people people that do on stage or on camera talk about the difficulty in transitioning because they're so used to hitting their mark or memorizing dialogue. I'm spoiled. In voiceover, your script's right there, and you can sit there and get in the zone and become that character, and it's just cool. And again, with audiobooks, your script's in front of you. You're reading the dialogue, you're narrating, and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's just another cool exercise in practicing your acting chops, and I'm lucky that I get to do it. Really.
I love it. I love it. So, is there any projects you want fans to know about at this time that you can talk about? We always know about the pesky NDAs.
Oh, those pesky NDAs. Well, there's generic games and shows coming up, but yeah, obviously more Super and DBZ Kai, the final chapter. So be watching Toonami on Cartoon Network, and of course, watch our Twitter feeds at Kyle Hebert. I'll announce projects as they come out, and of course, convention appearances and whatnot. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy this convention right here, Ohayocon.
All right, thanks so much, Kyle. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, my best friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay!